you may have a little bit of a realization happening that, oh, I'm not my name, I'm not my body, that's the surface of who I am. There's a deeper dimension to who I am, the being dimension. Yes. Being solely trapped in the human dimension, not knowing the deeper dimension of yourself, which is the being dimension, you suffer mentally, emotionally, and you don't know who you are. Hello there. Welcome to Talks with Michael Young. Thank you for your presence. There are two dimensions to who we are. The human language explains it quite well. Human being, that human dimension of who you are is usually has to do with your name, your upbringing, your culture, your background. And the being dimension of who you are is usually overlooked, but it's the invisible energy field that you are, the being dimension. Maybe it should have been called being human. Because the being dimension, which we call it now human being, the being dimension, it seems, since the word is second, it seems the being dimension is the secondary aspect of who we are, which should be the primary. Because the human dimension, if you're only identified by that, it usually means a little insect there, excuse me, insect. If you're usually just completely identified with the human dimension of who you are, it's frustrating. It's because you don't really know who you are. You only know one dimension. So, if you didn't know that, now you may have a little bit of a realization happening that, oh, I'm not my name, I'm not my body, that's the surface of who I am. There's a deeper dimension to who I am, the being dimension. Yes. And it's quite fortunate that it's becoming a little bit more mainstream for most people. We're hearing about it a lot more. I even see videos of people stepping out of the human dimension more into the being dimension. They'll be trapped in the human dimension, being very reactive with things, moving fast, talking fast, and then the video that I saw showed them stepping out of that, moving a little bit slower, becoming a little bit more aware, being more conscious of what they're doing, not ultimately causing resistance within their body, because being solely trapped in the human dimension, not knowing the deeper dimension of yourself, which is the being dimension, you suffer mentally, emotionally, and you don't know who you are, the depths of who you are. So, recognizing that there's two dimensions that you still have to acknowledge, which the human dimension, you still have to acknowledge it, still have to go to work, still have to do things, still have to have situations and challenges. But when you function more primarily from that being state, it's okay. You have situations and you handle them intelligently, consciously. You don't create resistance by not accepting what is now. It's a quite interesting phenomenon to recognize that the human and being dimension within yourself, and then begin to function more from the being dimension. It may not look conventional to most people because they're solely trapped in the human dimension, and they may even think that something happens that you should be absolutely upset about. Well, isn't it terrible? They may say, and you say, no, it is what it is. I'll handle it accordingly. Before I knew this, of course, I was deeply engulfed, if you will, in the human dimension. And when challenges would happen, I would go deeply into non-acceptance and resistance, become angry and frustrated. And if you notice that throughout your life, that may be a sign to go deeper and recognize the deeper essence of who you are. And you'll notice frustration and anger and all these unconscious realities will tend to dissipate and become more subtle, and the peace and joy in your life will rise to the surface, and you'll be a much more peaceful human being because you've learned to balance the human and the being of who you are.